Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Joseph Carroll. I write under the pen name J.R. Carroll. And today I'm coming to you with just a kind of a short video, but maybe a controversial video. I don't know. We'll see. So, the SPFBO, is that, I don't know if that's how we say it, but it's an independent authors awards thing, and it's run by Mark Lawrence. Now, they do all kinds of different stuff as far as awards go, and one of the big awards, is the Cover Art Award. And this year it was won by a book called Bob the Wizard. I'll throw it up here. It's a really nice looking cover. And the controversy came about after it was picked. It was the people in the competition, the judges, picked it as the best cover. And so they released it. They're like, oh, this is your winner. And some artists on Twitter were like, hey, just so you know, that is an AI image. And in the rules, it stated that, an AI art image can't win, or you have to let them know that it's AI and it won't be entered in the actual cover competition. And the thing happened, like the author was like, it's not an AI image. The artist told me it wasn't. And so then the artist tries to defend himself and be like, oh, it's layered together Photoshop wise and all this. And then there's, artists came out and said, no, it's not. And I can prove to you, I can show you where it's not.
You sit on a throne of lies.
But it did seem like the author got a little bit of blowback towards him. And I'm not sure. It seemed to be more than just the the book cover competition, if you want to call it that. It was like, oh, you're using AI on your cover, whether or not he knew. But myself as an author, it started ragging my brain, especially a self-published author, because I know how expensive things are as a self-published author. When I first started writing, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna publish this manuscript that I'm writing. I was like, I know it. I'm gonna go for it. And I started doing research and seeing how much everything costs, from editing to to cover art. There's so many, formatting. There's so many things that if you aren't technical in those areas, you have to pay for them, right? And some of them aren't cheap. Cover art, especially if you want something beyond a Fiverr cover, just stock photo $15 thing, let me just say that there's nothing wrong with that, and I'm gonna get into that. Okay. So I knew I had to, because, not saying I'm rolling in the dough now, because I'm not, but especially back when I started, I needed to almost like be like pound for pound, a dollar, get the best bang for my buck for everything I put in. I had to really research the person. I really had to do as much as I could myself, because I couldn't afford, $1,000 for editing, or $1,500, $2,000 for a cover, and all these things. I had to be strategic the way I did it, because a lot of times it's like, if you have disposable income, you may not think about those things. You may just be like, oh, well, this is a good editor. Okay, I'll go hire the editor. But if you don't have disposable income, you have to think about pinching pennies everywhere you can. And I knew that I was going to spend the chunk of the money that I could afford to put into this book. It was finding the best editor I could find for my money and the best cover art I could possibly do. Um, because I believed in my story. I believed in my writing, that, you know, even if I didn't hire $1,000 editor, um, if it was cohesive enough that people would get drawn into the story, but without a good cover, you're pretty much sunk. You could have the best story in the world, and see, it's like, okay, you have to have a really good story, great cover, and marketing. Now, if you don't have a great cover, but you have marketing money, yeah, there are some self-published books that I have read that I'm like, man, how did this thing sell so much? I mean, not the story was bad. I mean, but I'm like, yeah, they must have used most of their money for the marketing aspect of it. But like, my book, More Than Vampire, I wanted pencil art, black and white, because I thought that would really pop, and I wanted it to be all custom. So yeah, I put a chunk of money into my artist. Matthew Allen Bond is amazing. Check him out on Twitter, and I plan to work with him forever if I can. But a lot of people can't afford to put out what I put out, and I feel like I'm I get a good deal, from him. He could easily charge 2 or 3 times what he's charging me. Um, but so my thing is, okay, I can understand if you're just mad because an AI art won the competition. Okay, yeah, he shouldn't have been in the competition if it was AI, for sure. But I don't understand if you're mad that he got an AI image as his book cover. You know, so I don't know how much he spent on this artist who ended up creating this AI image. And I could tell it was an AI image because when I messed around, I think we've all messed around with the AI, whatever. I don't know it's the W, starts with a W app, and you can go in and mess with it. It looks like one of those ink arts. But I don't understand if you're mad at him for using that, because it's like, okay, what's his alternative? He could spend 50 bucks, on somebody who knows how to use the AI art system really well, or he could spend $40 on a Fiverr cover that doesn't look a tenth as good as that cover. I'm just like, get the best cover you can get for as cheap as you can get it. Especially if you are on a budget, which a lot of self-published people are. I mean, I'm sorry, like, it almost feels like some people are trying to gatekeep self-published authors now, where it's like, oh, if you can't afford to go out and get a custom art cover from somebody for $500 to $1,000+, if you can't afford that, or you can't afford a $1,000 to $2,000 editor, well, you shouldn't be writing a book. And I'm just like, you all need to calm down. First of all, yeah, a lot of those people didn't know it was AI art because they voted for it. So I like my artist. He does amazing work. I'm gonna work with him, forever. But I'm not gonna begrudge anybody who can't afford that but can still get a decent looking cover or good looking cover from AI. I mean, if that's all you can afford, get the best looking cover you can get. Because obviously, if you asked people how much he paid for that, not knowing it was AI, you would probably be like, well, he probably paid $1,000 for that. Well, good on him. you know, he found a way. He found a way to get a good looking cover for probably a tenth of that. So I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about AI art in general and AI cover art outside of the fact of competition, just in general? What are your thoughts about it? Throw it down in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and remember, be more than human.